Not everyone is meant to be WWE Champion, not in the fans' eyes anyway. Some wrestlers have their place, and should they be plucked out of this nest and transformed elsewhere, it's gonna irk some folks. Hell, sometimes it even annoys those in the back, and they're involved. Basically, the process for making someone the top guy is akin to hearing a foreign language for the first time. Makes absolutely no sense, and it takes you a good while to figure it out. And even when you do, there's always a seed of doubt in your head. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and this is the 10 most unlikely WWE World Champions. Number 10, Bob Backlund. Even more so today if you only know him as the crazy old man. Seeing Bob Backlund grab the championship in the mid-90s was bizarre. This wasn't the late 1970s anymore when Bob's star was high and he was the quintessential WWE champion. This was an era where Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were being promoted as the new generation. And yet here was some old dude standing center stage. So why then the decision was made at the 94 Survivor Series to have Bob beat then champ Bret Hart is anybody's guess. Probably just to surprise the fans, much like the company still does today. But it was a poor choice. Backlund, as mentioned, was not the man he used to be, and fans just didn't want to see it. And surprisingly, didn't last all that long.
Number 9, Kofi Kingston. Did anyone truly think that Kofi Kingston would ever become WWE Champion? Unlike many entries on this list, it wasn't because the fans didn't want to see it. Kofi had just been pigeonholed for so long that it didn't seem like it was his role. He was the good love everything babyface or the comedic goofy New Day dude. We all know he could go in the ring, but until 2019 he barely had a sniff at the main event scene. If you wanted to see Kingston hold that title aloft, you probably gave up on it many years ago. But that's why you never say never. After a chain of crazy events that saw Mustafa Ali get injured, WWE moved Kofi into that position and everybody bought into it hard. It had been 11 years since Kingston had debuted in the company. With the help of the New Day, it didn't take long for everyone to start realizing this is exactly something that needed to happen. Kofi beating Daniel Bryan of all people to win the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35, the biggest event of 2019, blew everybody's brains. The fact it was Bryan just made it even better, as he too had been held back in the same way years prior. It was an awesome moment, and the reaction to Kingston winning is something few will forget. Even more so if you saw it live. It's what every single person in the arena wanted, and getting it hit every satisfaction gland in your body. No matter what happens now, no one can ever take this away. You damn right.
Number 8, Daniel Bryan. One of the best stories in WWE history, Daniel Bryan was never even meant to make it to the big leagues, let alone stand at the top of the mountain. The fact he did was just wonderful. The irony, of course, was the reaction to this. WWE never wanted Bryan to have this popularity. They would, however, have very much enjoyed if John Cena did. That's the perfect scenario they desired, but life rarely works like that. Instead, the very likable and genuine Bryan won over everybody, so much so, the company couldn't ignore what was happening. The reactions he received week in, week out steered into multiple world title reigns, including the highlight at WrestleMania 30. And all this when he wasn't even meant to be around. How lovely. Number 7, Christian. For my money, Christian is one of the most underrated wrestlers ever. Sure, he may have been on the small side, but from in-ring work to personality, the man was great. Deserves so much more. WWE didn't see it the same way, hence when Edge and Christian split up, the former was pushed to the moon and the latter kinda just floated around for a while. After leaving for a TNA run and then returning, it seemed like it was business as usual too. He was a presence, but it didn't seem like there was any major plans for him. And then, that all changed. When Edge's career came to a sudden end, that was used to propel Christian into the spotlight. In this instance, capture his first world heavyweight title in a ladder match against Alberto Del Rio. He then went to feud over that belt with Randy Orton in 2011, and it was excellent, because, as I say, Christian was great. Number 6, Rob Van Dam. Context is king, as we know, but that's why it's so hard to explain how nuts it was to see RVD as the WWE Champion in 2006. In the late 90s, when he was ECW's brightest star, no one would have predicted that, and if they did, it would have probably been preceded by a lot of alcohol or drugs. There was just no way. And the wrestling landscape changed. With WWE, ECW, and WCW merging into one, the mid-2000s opened up a great opportunity for nostalgia and the return of Extreme Championship Wrestling. So who else was going to win the title at the One Night Stand pay-per-view? None other than Rob Van Dam, and he even beat poster child John Cena. It's a surreal moment even today, and while it was over before it began after RVD got busted for marijuana, it was still earned by a man who had busted his ass for the sport. Number 5, Mankind. Vince McMahon was so against Mick Foley coming to the WWE in the mid-90s, he told Jim Ross, who pushed for him constantly, that if it all went badly, he would hold him personally responsible. That's not someone who's been earmarked for a run with the most important prize in the company. But Mankind was, and he went on to win it 3 times, all because of the incredible connection he had with the fans. The audience believed everything Mick Foley did, be that as Mankind, Dude Love or Cactus Jack, and it was only right that he had his moment in the sun. The proof for all of this is the now infamous incident when WCW commentator Tony Schiavone gave away Foley's first world title win on WCW TV, and about 600,000 people then changed channel to see it. Mrs. Foley's baby boy was beloved. Simple as that. Number 4, Rey Mysterio. Much like Mankind, it was just unfeasible at a time to imagine Rey Mysterio, who's around 5'5", could ever be WWE Champion, especially in a company that had long been known as the Land of the Giants. Even wrestlers who were 6 foot struggled, so what chance did Rey have, as innovative as he was? None. Most people would have said. From the moment he arrived in the WWE in 2002 though, people just gravitated towards him. Not only did he rejuvenate the cruiserweight division, but his popularity speared him well above that into the main event picture. Countless good matches raised his stock further, and there was a time it was clear what had to be done. And it was done! Rey Mysterio lifted the World Heavyweight title, and while he was booked terribly from there, no one can ever take that away from him. Number 3, CM Punk. CM Punk, much like many people we've mentioned in this list, was just not a WWE guy. In fact, as we know, he was a Paul Heyman guy, and that was a problem in itself. Heyman pushed him so hard backstage it actually backfired given Paul's controversial reputation. On top of that, Punk himself was not a people pleaser. He was his own man who would speak out and let people know exactly what he was thinking. That doesn't always rub individuals the right way. Thing is, he was dynamite in the ring and the fans loved him for it. Feeling like one of them as opposed to some mythical superstar, he was relatable, a wrestling fan who had proven that hard work and talent could take you where you wanted to be. This meant all the power people backstage hated him, but eventually it didn't matter. His all-round skill for pro wrestling and his captivating promos pushed him over the edge to the point there was no other decision to make. Punk went on to be the longest reigning champ of a generation, underlining what a talent he was. Number 2, The Miz. The Miz was a reality TV star. Depending when you started watching WWE, The Miz was also a guy who feuded with his stunt double Damien Sandow. There was no way he could be WWE Champion or a WrestleMania main eventer, but damn it, he was both. The thing is, in 2010 he did become one of the most entertaining guys on the roster and made himself so hated that he then became the top heel in the company. Fans genuinely despised him and were desperate to see him lose, which is exactly what such a role needs. That's why in November 2010 he cashed in his Money in the Bank to beat Randy Orton for gold. He may have fallen off the radar entirely when he eventually lost the strap to Cena, but still, this happened and it wasn't a fluke. It was pure work ethic and a personality that rubbed you utterly the wrong way. Number 1, Jinder Mahal. As much as I enjoy the fact that this has happened, it is unbelievable. Jinder Mahal, the guy who was beaten by El Torito, was part of long-running joke 3-man band, won about 5 matches from the moment he returned to WWE until he won the title, became the man. It's incredible. Always treated like a joke by WWE, a business interest in India changed plans from nowhere. And all of a sudden Mahal was winning 6-pack challenge matches to become number 1 contender. And he capitalized on that as well. Beating Randy Orton at Backlash 2017 for the title, it was a talking point for the ages. Jinder still feels like the Jinder of old, but now he's a top dude. It's interesting, that's for sure, and genuinely someone who is the unlikeliest of WWE champions.
Hello, What Culture? My name is Simon Miller, and today I have an announcement so big, so huge, it's gonna shatter the very foundations of your life to the point you may need to phone up a friend and say, I don't even know who I am anymore. I have just heard the news. Have you heard the news? They'll probably say, no, I haven't heard the news, but you're already on the phone to them. You've already connected with them, so I would appreciate it if you either tell them the news or send them to this video. Thanks. So what is the news? Well, it's nice and simple. I've heard you out there. I've seen you've been commenting. I've read your tweets, and I can now officially let you know that if you do enjoy Raw ups and downs, if you do enjoy SmackDown ups and downs, that now you'll be able to set your watches to them. You'll be able to make notes in your calendars because we're gonna have an official time for when they're gonna go live. I know, massive. So Ups and Downs for Raw will go live at 2 p.m. GMT, that's British time every Tuesday, and they will go live at 2 p.m. GMT every Wednesday for SmackDown. So you don't have to be aimlessly walking around anymore going, what do? I want to know what got up and what got down and what Seth Rollins did or what AJ Styles is up to. Now you know, 2 p.m. GMT Tuesday, 2 p.m. GMT Wednesdays, Ups and Downs coming at you in the face. I realize what I just said, retract that, keep moving on, and I hope to see you there there soon, and I hope that we build an audience so big that if I ever wanted to march an army anywhere in the world, I could, and we'd call it the Ups and Downs Army, because I haven't come up with a better name. So yes, just to reiterate, Raw Ups and Downs, 2 p.m. GMT Tuesday, SmackDown Ups and Downs, 2 p.m. GMT Wednesday. I cannot wait to bring this brand new era in, and unlike other brand new eras, I've already let you know exactly what you can expect to see. Come on, 2019, Kenny Omega, we don't know where he's going, but you do know, and you can always rely on Ups and Downs.